Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, in this series of videos we're putting together this sales product funnel type page. We've got a computer here that we want to sell. We've got a countdown timer for urgency, and it sort of funnels them down the page. We've got stats sections, split sort of hero sections. They click on the buttons. We've got testimonials, we've got videos, and it'll take them down to the price options for the product. We've got WooCommerce installed on this site, so they can click on this and they can actually buy it from the site. They can add it to the cart. And proceed to check out. So follow along with us and see how easy it is to build this great funnel page with the Divi theme. I've got a site here with a fresh install of WordPress, and I've just installed and activated the Divi theme. If you want to know how to download, install and activate the Divi theme, I'll put a link to that video below this video. I've covered it so many times, I probably don't need to cover it again in this video. Alright, so if we look at this site, it's not going to look like much. There we are, it's just a pretty much blank WordPress install, just with our Divi placeholder there. So first things first, let's get our site branded and organize our logo and top menu up here. And we'll also do the favicon. Now favicon's this little icon up here, site icon. As you can see in my original, I've got a little fella with a laptop there. Right, so let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go down. To Divi and Theme Customizer. Click on that. Okay, now the customizer is loaded. Let's go to Header and Navigation. The menu we're looking at the moment right now is called the Primary menu. So I want to go to the Primary menu bar. I want mine to be dark in color. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to say background color, and I'm going to change that color down here to black. Now I want the actual menu items when they appear to appear as white, so text color. Now it's a sort of gray, it's because the opacity is down a little bit. To bring it up to full white, I'm just going to slide this slider up. There we have it. Okay, that's going to work for me at the moment. Active link color, I want to make that white also. So I just clicked on the active link color and I'm going to select white. So that's going to set the page we're on, whatever page or section you're on. I want it all to be the same for us at the moment. Great, so that's our menu color taken care of, but if I slide down a bit, there's not too much content I can slide to on there. So let's just go back. Go to what they call the fixed navigation settings. Now, like I say, I haven't got enough content to roll here, but the fixed menu and the primary menu are two different ones. When we get a bit more content, we'll change our fixed nav so it looks exactly the same as our primary navigation. Probably doesn't make a lot of sense now. If I go back to this site here, when I scroll with a fixed navigation, once you get down so far, a different nav will come in. I've got mine both the same, so there's no discernible change there. Okay, so we've got our little menu done up there. Go back to our primary menu. I'm going to give it a menu height of say 80 pixels. So I'm going to put my logo in now, and we'll have to come back and adjust it and make our logo the correct size. So let's publish that. Now it's published, we can get out of the customizer. Let's go back down to Divi and go to the first tab, the theme options right here. And under the general tab, under the first entry, you'll see logo. So let's upload a logo. I've got a logo and a favicon over here. Logo is 368 by 100 deep, or tall I should say, and the favicon is 512 by 512, and that's pixels. So I'm just going to drag my logo up here, left click, drag and release, and when I'm happy I'm going to set my logo, and there it is right there. I'm going to save my changes. Once we get the little green check mark, let's go back to our customizer. We should see our logo in place now. And there it is, you can see our logo is right there. I want that logo to be a little bit bigger than that. So again, let's go to our header and navigation. We'll go to our primary menu bar again, and then we got our logo max height here. We can drag up the slider or type in a value until it's about the size you want it. I think that's going to do me absolutely fine. Publish our changes. Okay, while we're here, let's do our favicon, which is the little badge that appears in the browser tab up there. And mine, I've got what they call a portable network graphic or a ping file, so it's got no background in it. So whatever background the tab color is, you're just going to see the image with that background. But it's fine to use a JPEG if you prefer with a background color. Okay, so let's go back. And back one more time, and we want to go to our general settings for this. This is where your site identity is. That's the name of the site. That's the tagline. Put in whatever you see, or whatever's going to work for you, obviously. Now here's where we put in our favicon or site icon, as they call it here. So just click on the select site icon. And again, I'm just going to drag my icon over, release it when it's uploaded. Before I actually upload this, we'll just discuss over here. Every image on a site should always have alt text. Now really this should be something that's describing the icon, because it's for people with poor eyesight can have what they call a reader, and it will read the image alt text to say what it is. But a lot of people do use this for SEO and put in keywords pertaining to whatever their site is. So it's up to you, that's what that's there for. So let's select that when we're happy. And there it is up there. So let's publish our changes. Great. So now we can get out of here. And if we just view our site, I think I've got it up here. If I refresh, we should now have our dark nav bar, our logo, our favicon, and a light colored menu. So let's just refresh this. And there we go. Fantastic. So in the next video, we'll create our first little slider right here for our product. So here's our new site. I'm at the dashboard right here. Let's go down to pages and add new. And I'm just going to call my new page home. And I'm going to use the Divi builder. I don't need to take the tour. Take the tour if you don't know what you're doing. I do, so I'm going to start building. I'm going to build from scratch. Okay, so I'm actually going to get rid of that. I want to insert a full width row for our full width slider. So I'm going to hit the little blue button there to add a section, green one to add a row, and there's a dark one in a minute to add a module. I'm going to add a new section. I'm going to make it full width. And I'm going to slide down, and for our full width options here, we've got a full width slider module. I'm just going to left click on that. And as you can see, it's put in a little mock slider there. I'm just going to save that and delete this top section that we didn't need. Just hit the trash can icon. Okay, so let's go into the slider module itself, the dark tab right here. Because we've used a specialist section, a full width section, it's a purple tab. For a regular section it's usually blue. So let's go into our full width slider here. And let's grab our first slide. I'm going to go into the cog. First thing I want to do is put in a background image. So I'm going to go down to background. I'm going to go to image. You've got color, gradient, image, and video. I'm going to go to image, add a background image. I'm going to pull in a picture. Now because it's a fairly big screen size, I've got this picture size, a minimum I'd say of 1920 for something like this. 1920 pixels wide if it's going to be a full screen image. You can be bigger, but I wouldn't go too much smaller than that because it may blur out on you. So I'm happy with that. Hit the upload image, and there it is in the background. Now for the actual content itself, if we go further up, let's go to the text. I put in huge MacBook sale. As you can see, it's right there. The button, I'm going to say learn more. I'm going to have it go down to another section below eventually. And I'm going to put in a few of the specifications for the Mac. I've actually got a little product description here, so we can put in some of that. And we just roll on down to our content here and put that in there. There we go. Now I want a little image of the MacBook as well on the left hand side. So if we go down a little further, you can say image and video, and I'm going to add a little image right here. I'm going to use a transparent PNG again, so it's just a picture of a computer with no background there. I'll just drag it over and upload that one, and there it is on the side there, and you can see our text has been pushed over to the right hand side here. Now I'm not too happy with the way everything's displaying, so let's put a mix of color in the background of our picture here. So we're on our slide again. We want to go down to background. You could use an overlay, but I'm just going to add a color. So I'm going to go to color, and let's try our purple color. And you may say, well, I can't see anything. Well, that's true. Let's go back to our image, and at the bottom of the image you've got a bunch of blend styles. So multiply, yeah, that works pretty well. Screen, go through and choose something that works for you. I think for me multiply is going to work perfectly because you can see and read everything there. That's great. Now I want to make that writing a lot heavier, and I perhaps want to do these lines so they're not as long. So let's go to our design tab, and we can go down to our title text, or you can hover over and hit the little paintbrush item at the text itself. That will take you straight to whatever it is you want to edit. I'm going to make these ultra bold. Well, that's a little too much. Let's make them semi bold. That's fine. I'm going to capitalize it. There we go. That's pretty much all I want to do to that. We'll take care of the paragraphing on this in the content in a minute. Let's style our button. I'm going to make my button, go down to button, design tab, custom styles for button. It's fine where it is at the moment on the left. Text color white, that's good. Button background, I'm going to make it purple, and I'll also make the border itself purple just below. But on hover, let's turn that button to blue. So button background, hover over where it says button background, you'll see these little icons. Go on the little arrow one, it'll give you an option for desktop and hover mode. Desktop's when there's no mouse over it, hover obviously when there is. So I'm going to select hover, and I'm going to say I want it to be blue on hover. As you can see, it's turned blue. I want to do the same thing with the border. Button border color, click on the little arrow again, hover color, There we go. Now if I switch back to text box, it's going to turn back to purple again. Okay, I'm going to actually leave my button there for a moment. I don't know, I guess I'll add an icon. Show button icon, I'm going to flip that to yes. And I'm going to use just an arrow that's going down because I'm going to have that button going to a different section below. Now it's only showing when I hover over it. I want it to show all the time. So if we go down a little bit lower, only show icon hover on hover, just select that or deselect that and it'll be there. You may have to flip it. It may tell you that it's doing that, but you may have to flip it off a couple of times. There we go. Now I'm just going to add a bit more padding to our button. So I'm going to go down a little further and add some padding left and right just to make it wider. And so let's say 50 on the left. I may have to add a bit more on the right because to offset it with that button. We'll try 50. Yeah, I'm going to give it, say 60 because of the icon there. Yeah, that looks better to me, but of course you do what you want to do. Great, so the only other thing I want to do here is to go into the text and back on the content tab, and I want to break it at, let's say, after computing. There's computing. So I'm going to hit shift and enter. That'll do a single line, not just enter. Shift and enter a single line. If you just hit enter, it'll give you a double line. And after A, and after optimum. There we go. That looks a little more organized, I think, anyway there. So I'm pretty happy with that slide. So let's hit the checkbox and we're back into the main slider one. If we go up there, let's delete the second one that they've got there and clone the one that we've just done. Two little boxes right there. I'm going to hit the cog to go into that. I'm going to change the title to perhaps 48 hours only, or however long you want your sale. As you can see, it's written there. I'm going to leave the learn more because that's going to go down to another section. I'll just change the text out a little bit with my text that I had going on here. Let's see, I want to break this after 4. Shift enter. After radion or radion. After graphics, and after applications, I guess. There we go. Great. And let's change the image out to a different computer image that I've got here. Image and video. So just click on it. I've got another one of it facing the other way. Again, it's a transparent one. There we go. So I'm going to pop that in there. Now I just want to change that background image out for a different one. So if we go down to background, and I'm going to go to image, I'm going to leave the color in because we want it to do the same or similar thing. Let's have a look. I think I've got another computer type image there. Upload that one. Fantastic. Great. So that's great for our second slide. Now all I want to do is set this thing to be automatic, so it rotates automatically, and you can change styles such as your buttons and your arrows, but I really don't need to change anything. So let's just go to our design tab. Overlay, don't need to change anything there. Navigation, there's if you want to change your arrow color or dot color. I'm happy with the way mine is, so I'm going to leave that as it is. Don't need to change the image or the text. We've done all that in the slides. The button's fine. Sizing and spacing are absolutely fine. So we're going to go back to our full width slider settings. You can go to elements and decide whether you want to show arrows and controls. Link it to anything. Everything is absolutely fine there. If we go to the design tab, I want to go down to animation. I want to tell mine to automatically animate. So I'm going to switch that to on. And I'm going to say every 5 seconds, which would be 5,000 milliseconds. So I'm going to leave that continue automatic slide on hover to off. That way when people put their mouse over it, it will stop. So it'll give them a chance to read the text and hit the button and look at the pictures if they want to. So I think we're pretty much done there. Let's just save our changes. Save the page changes, hit the little purple button, publish the page. And once published, exit the Visual Builder. And there's our little slider right there. It should slide every 5 seconds. There we go. So that's how to add a hero slider. In our next video, we'll move down and do our little countdown clock there. Now, so let's continue. I'm going to enable my Visual Builder. Once enabled, I'm going to go down to below our slider here. I'm going to add a new section. I'm going to make it a regular section. Inside, I'm going to put 1 column, 1 row. Now this is going to be a counter, so I'm going to simply go down to countdown timer. I'm not going to have a title. I just want to show a timer counting down to the perhaps when you want to stop the sale on whatever it is that you're selling. And set the time, just it's got the regular date highlighted, put it to whenever you want to stop or count down to, and you're good to go. You can change the hour here. It's 24 hours, so if you want it to count down to 5 AM, hit the minute slider, you can take it down to 0 or 59. Just set it to where you want it. I think that's a little early. Let's say 8 AM on the 25th. And it'll count down to that time. Link. Don't think I want to link it at the moment. Might decide to link it to the actual price tables when we do those. Background. I'm going to get rid of that background. Just simply hit the trash can. And you can't see anything because it's white writing now on a white background. I'm going to save that. I'm going to give our section itself a background color. So I'm going to hit the blue tab, the cog. I'm going to go to background and I'm going to give it the purple color we've been using. Now you can see our little countdown. Now to make it a little more interesting, let's have a gradiated background. Let's make it a gradient. So we'll start off with purple and then with perhaps black at the bottom. So let's go over to gradient. I'll hit gradient. Top color, I'm going to make that purple. There we go. And bottom color, I'm going to make that black. There we go. I've got way too much space top and bottom. So I'm going to go to our design. I'm going to go to spacing. And I'm going to take away any padding top and bottom. So I'm going to put 0 in the top and 0 in the bottom. Now I've still got more than I want there, so let's go into our row and see if there's padding we need to take away there. We'll go into the row, we'll go to design, and we'll go to spacing there as well. Top and bottom, we'll put 0 in. We may want to change that though. Yeah, that's looking more like it. Let's just save our changes and have a look at it on the front end. May want to take it down a little bit more with the padding on the module itself. Let's just save our page changes and exit the Visual Builder. Let's go down and take a look. Yeah, I think that's going to work absolutely fine. Good. So what I'm going to do, I want to reuse this module. I'm going to have it further down the page so it sort of gives them more of a sense of urgency. If I show you on this one, I've got a timer halfway down the page here, as well as just below the slider at the top. So that's absolutely fine. What I'll do is enable my visual builder again. I'm going to go down. I'm going to save my section. So I'm going to go into the section tab, the blue one right here. And you've got a little round icon there. If you left click on it, save section to library. I'm going to give it a name of timer. And I'm going to save it as a global item. What that means is wherever else I put this on this site, I'm going to put it here, further down the page. And it's going to be on the product page and probably on the checkout page as well. Just so it gives people a sense that they better do it before the timer runs out. If I keep it as a global item, when I change it in one place, it will change all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So there we have it. If you wanted to make it a little skinnier, you can still go into the actual section itself, into the design, to spacing. What if we take the padding away, top and bottom, 0? And 0, probably not going to be, yeah, it's too much. I'm going to say 20 and 20. That'll probably work. Let's save that and see what we've got, and I think we're done. Exit the visual builder. Yeah, there we go. That's going to work for me. Like I say, we'll be using this in other places too. Great. So in our next video, we'll do our little stats section. So let's continue. Here's where we got to. We put the timer in. Let's do our little stats section. If I go back, let's do our little stats section today. Now I've got a little notepad here with all the information I need about my laptop. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is enable the visual builder. Once loaded, let's go down to where we want to work, which is just below our countdown timer here. I'm going to add a new section, the blue button right there. I'm going to make it a regular section, and inside I'm going to have 2 columns. Now for the first column, I'm going to use a blurb so we can use an icon and use a list. And there it is right there. Just going to save that. Before I do anything else, I'm going to decorate our section. Now this section, I'm going to have a bit of a gradient from blue to black. I think that's what I had in this one, looks like it. So let's go into the section, the blue tab. Go to the background. I'm going to put in a gradient. You've got color, gradient, image or video. I'm going for gradient. I'm going to hit the plus. And I'll leave the blue at the top, and I'm going to make the bottom one black. Just like that. Fantastic. Right. Let's go back into our little module here. And for the title, I'm going to put laptop specs. And in the content, I'm going to actually put the content that we've got here. Again, I'm just copying and pasting from my little notepad. So I selected that and just pasted mine over top, and there it is right there. Okay, image and icon. Well, I don't want to put an image up here. I could put an image up there, but let's put a little icon up there today. I'm going to hit the use icon button, and I'm going to choose a sort of cog type icon to put there. There we go, something like that. Now you can see it, but it's not really where I want it. I want it to be on the left of our title. I want to make the title bigger and bolder, and also our text I want to make lighter so we can see it. Don't want to link this module to anything. If you could, if you wanted to, link it to the product page also. So let's go over to our design tab and start designing this. So go to image and icon first. Image and icon placement. I want mine on the left, so I'm going to hit that. I'm going to say left. Now, as you can see, it's put it on the left of our title there. I'm going to use icon font size to bring it up just a little bit in size. Doesn't have to be crazy. Great. Now let's go into our title text. I'm going to make it semi-bold. I'm going to make it white. I'm also going to capitalize it. I think I might just take it up a little bit in size also. Something like that. Don't want to do anything else to that. Let's move on down to our body text. And all I want to do with that is make it white in color. Everything else is going to work for me. Now that icon, I can see it, but I'd like it to stand out a little bit more than that. So let's go back to the top here, to the image and icon color. I'm going to make that white too. That's great. So there's our little stats. We want to give it a title at the top. And also on the right, I thought it'd be fun to have a little bar counter with the sort of CPU and RAM specs and what have you. So let's do that. Save our changes here. I'm going to add another module in our second column of our row. I'm going to have a bar counter. And I'm just going to check what we did with this other one. We just did the specs of the actual computer, CPU, RAM, hard drive and graphics. So let's put that in. I'm going to go into the actual bar itself. For the title, I'm going to put in the CPU specs, which is Intel Core i9. For how far up it goes, i9 is pretty much the top processor at the moment. So I'm going to make mine 98%. Don't want it to link to anything. And the background color as it is absolutely fine. If you change that, you can change that to whatever you want it to be. For instance, if I make it purple, you can see that's that little 2% that's left. I'm going to leave mine as white. That's absolutely fine for me. But I think I'll make the actual color of the bar itself purple. So let's go into our design tab. We'll go down to bar. I'm going to have that as purple. There we go. The title text, I'm going to have that as semi-bold, and I want it to be white so it'll stand out nicely as well, and that's absolutely fine. Don't think we really want to change anything. We could give it a bit of box shadow on the bottom of our bar there. That's quite nice. So when we're happy, we'll move on and do the next one. Go back to content. We'll save. We're back in the main bar counter settings now, and I'm going to duplicate it. And for the next one, I'm just going to go into the little cog. I'm going to change that to RAM 64GB. I'm going to take that down because we can add a bit more RAM. Let's say 85% for that one. Let's go down and do our next one. I'm going to clone that one. And for our next one, we're going to have a terabyte solid state drive, which is pretty hot at the moment. So let's say 92. And graphics, let's add one more. Again, I'm going to clone back in the main module, go into there, copy from my little notepad. Yeah, let's make that 96. So that's a pretty hot graphics card too. And that's it. We've got our little stats section. And the only thing I want to do now is put a title up at the top here. So I'm going to add another row. We'll add it underneath and we can push it up to the top when we're done. Single column. I'm going to use a text module. Why not? and inside I'm going to put the name and the specifications of the computer. Let's put this here. Okay. And I'm going to put that on a different line. We'll call this a title. I'm going to put this as heading 1. Selecting it, going up to heading 1 here. And the bottom one I'm going to put as heading 2. So we can make them different sizes. As you can see, that's in there pretty good right now. But if we go to the Design tab, let's go to our heading text. We know heading 1 was that big one we put in there. I want to make that white. Let's make it all capital. Let's make it semi-bold. Let's bring it up quite a bit in size. Something like that. And we want to put it right in the middle. Now we can do our text, our H2, our heading 2 right there. And again, I'm going to have it semi-bold. I want it white. I'm not going to make it capitalized this time, but I am going to put it in the middle. And I think that'll do fine. So let's save that. And now I just need to move this row up to the top there. Now sometimes when you're moving modules around, it's a good idea to do it in wireframe mode, because it makes it easier for you to navigate around all the other modules. And to do that, if you hit the little purple button at the bottom, hit the little wireframe icon over here in the bottom left hand side. There it is. There's our row for our title. I just want to pop this one up on top there. Go back to our desktop view when we're happy. Go on down. And there it is. So I think we're good to go with that section. Save our changes. And we'll exit the Visual Builder and see what we've got. And there we go. We've got our little count up bars there. Great, so let's carry on. In our last video, let's go back to the main site here. In our last video, we completed our little specifications section, this one here. Let's do this little product hero section. All it is a large section with a picture of the product itself and a large legend of writing and a little summary about the computer itself. Really easy to do. So let's do that one today. Here's a site we're building. Let's enable the Visual Builder. And let's go down to where we want to work, which is just below our specs section here. I'm going to add another section. I'm going to make it a regular section. Inside, I'm going to have one row, one column. And I'm going to use the fantastic blurb module, just like we did last time. Now, before I do that, let's take care of the background of our section here, which is here. Blue tab for a section, green tab for a row, dark tab for a module. Let's go into our row and I'm going to add a background image. We've got color, gradient, image or video. Let's grab an image. I'll just upload an image. Now, with background images, you can do all kind of different things. There's a background image there. We can make it parallax if we want to by hitting this little switch on. That'll make it sort of go up and down at a different rate from our foreground. I'm not going to do that with this. That's true parallax. They've got CSS parallax, which is fixed background, which is more dramatic. It stays where it is, where the rest of the site scrolls like that. And those are great. But today we're not going to use that. I'm going to actually use the blend mode that it's got down here to add a background color to it and mix it with the color. Now to do that, we need to add a background color also. So I'll go to the first one, the color. I'm going to add the purple. I'm going to go back to my image and scroll down. And if we look at the bottom, you've got background image blend. I'm going to use multiply, and that's going to work perfectly for me. We use this with our slider when we build it at the top. There's some fantastic choices here. Do go through and have a look. You can get some fantastic effects using those. Great, so we're happy with the background. Let's go ahead and do our little hero product section. Back into the module. Now I'm going to go ahead and make the background of this purple. So I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to make the background purple. Now it doesn't look much, but I'm going to drag the opacity down so we can see a bit of the image through it. Just a little bit, so there's a hint there. Great. So let's go up to our text. And for the title, I'm going to put in our MacBook title. And then in the text, I'm going to put, as you can see, it's put it in there. I'm going to adjust that in a minute so you can see things a lot better. And let's put its description in down below here. Great. Now for the image and icon, let's grab an image of the actual laptop itself, and we'll go ahead and use one we've got there already. There it is right there. Now let's make our text much more legible. So let's go to the design tab. Image is fine, I'm going to leave it as it is. Title text I want to make huge. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to make it ultra bold. I'm going to make it capital. I'm going to make it white. I'm going to make it a lot bigger. So it breaks into a couple of lines, I should think. There we go, something like that. I'm going to have it in the middle. There we go. Now let's move on down to our regular text, which is the body text. I want to make this white so we can see it. There it is. I want to make it a little bit bigger too. And again, I think I'll have this centered. Could even try justified with this. No, I think centered is going to work a little bit better. I'm going to have a little bit more there. And I want to add a bit of padding to the top here and the bottom, so it's not squished up against the top and bottom. So now let's go down to our spacing. And let's try 50 top and bottom. Actually, we'll do it in padding rather than margin. Would have made a whole lot of difference in this case. It's okay. Let's actually bring it up to 100. There we go. That's more like it. That's a pretty nice size sort of hero image right there. Now, the only other thing is we haven't got our product yet, but when we do, we can link this, so if people click on this, it'll take them straight to our product and they can purchase it. But we've done all we can do with it at this point in time. So let's save our changes. Save our page changes. And once saved, let's exit the visual builder. And let's go down and see what we've got. And there we go. You're not going to miss that. So that's our little product image hero section right there. Well, we have a question that keeps coming up with the Divi is how to change things. It may look great on a mobile, or it may look great on a desktop, but when you change to mobile or tablet view, things don't work out. Or you can change and hide sections on various different things. Let's enable the visual builder and I'll demonstrate this. Okay, let's go down and create a new section somewhere. Right here will do. I'll add a regular section. I'll make it single column, single row, and I'll just throw a blurb module in there. Okay, and I'm not going to do anything with the title or anything like that. Let's just put an image in. I'll just add an image quickly. Doesn't matter what one, that's fine. And let's put an image in our background here for our section. again, I've not got anything particular in mind here, so we're just sort of putting this stuff in here. That's fine. And with our little blurb module here, obviously we can't see anything. Let's give it a background color and make our text crazy size or something. So let's go into our module here, give it a background color. Just for argument, I'll just call it purple. There we go. And let's go into our design and make our text huge. There's our title text. We'll make it ultra bold. We'll make it white. And we'll make it phenomenal. I mean, huge, huge. There we go. That's fine. And our regular text, we better make that white as well so we can see it. And again, let's make this text a lot bigger. And it looks like we want a bit of padding. So top and bottom, I'm just going to give it, say, 50 top and bottom. Okay, great. Let's just save that. So we've got a section here. It's got a blur module in it and an image background. Looks fine on the desktop. Let's hit the little purple button and take a look at it on the tablet. And actually that looks fine on the tablet too, but if you decided on the tablet you wanted to change it so that's all on one line, you could. Let's have a look at it on the phone. See, on the phone it looks kind of crazy. Now you've got a few options that you can do here. While I've got it in phone mode, we can go in to our little module right here, and I can go to the title text size there, and just on the telephone size I can go down to title text H4. We'll go down to title text size. If you roll over the dark writing where it says title text size, you'll notice some icons appear. Hit the one that looks like a little phone, and you can change things on tablet, desktop and phone. So for the original it's going to stay the same, and on tablet it's going to stay the same. But if we go back up to it wherever it was, but on phone we need to take our text down some. So on the phone we can just take our text size down so it becomes the size we want, and you can actually change the alignment and do anything you want with it. And we'll do the same for the actual body text itself. We'll just put it in the middle like that. Now then, if we just save that, when it's on a phone it's going to look like that, but as soon as we go back to tablet it's going to revert to how it was, which is that huge title, and right. Same with the desktop, and you can do 3 different ones for the desktop tablet version. But not only that, you can have completely different things. So let's duplicate this section. I'm going to hit the little duplicate button. Now we should have the same section below. Let's go in and we'll change the background image on this section. There we go. So we got a different image. It doesn't look very good, but that doesn't matter. And let's go into our module and let's change this background color to blue. It's actually in the module itself. And also let's go ahead and change that image too. Really doesn't matter. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to save that. I'm going to duplicate this again. I'm going to change the image on this third one. I'm sure somebody's ahead of me knows what I'm going to do here, but if not, let's use that one. We'll change the background color. Let's make this green, I guess. And we'll change our little image. Okay, so we got 3 sections, pretty similar but different backgrounds and things like that. Let's go ahead and we'll say we want to display this one on the desktop. So we'll go into the section, we'll go to advanced, and we'll go to visibility, and I only want this one on desktop, so I'm going to say disable on tablet and phone. Okay, let's go down to our next one, and this one we'll say we only want it to display on tablet. So we want to disable on phone and desktop. And as you can see, we're just looking at desktop, and it's sort of paled out the ones that are not going to be visible on desktop, so you know which is which. And this one we just want to be displayed on the mobile. So let's go into our section, go to advanced, visibility, and we just want this one on the phone. And as you can see, again, because we're on desktop view, it's grayed out the tablet. Okay, so we got this one displaying when we're on a desktop. Right, so let's save our changes and exit the Visual Builder. Right, I'm using Google Chrome here, so if I hit F12, it'll show me this, and I can view it on different ones. So we've got our desktop view here. I'm going to hit F12, and with my Chrome Inspector I've got a responsive device toggler here. If I hit that, well, there it is on the phone, and you can see it's got that green one right there, and we need to do our text and padding on that one if we want to do it responsively. Let's change this to a tablet. I guess that's an iPad. Now you see we've got the blue background one and the one with a different thing there. The other ones can't be seen. And then if we just take it off to a desktop, we'll have a purple background here and a different image. There we go. So you can have completely different setups on your sections for each device, which is really handy. Now I hope that answered the question of things not displaying on different devices. You can set it up, you can change the padding, the style, font sizes on each different device, and every module has one of those responsive toggles on it. So like we say, we've got a purple one on the desktop, we've got a blue one on the tablet, and we've got the green one on the phone. And like I say, you can put a different image that suits the size of the device that you're looking on in the background. You can change the font size to make things display better on smaller devices, etc., etc. So we've put in our little hero section here. Today let's add some buttons and make them scroll from section to section. Really easy to do, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is enable the Visual Builder. Now we've got a button on the slider, or the slider here. We'll use that as one, and we need to make one for this section. We'll call this the info section, and we'll call this the hero section, and we'll put one here that takes them from there to whatever the section is we do below. Now to start off, we need to give our section some CSS IDs. So you've got 3 tabs here. You've got a dark one for a module, green one for a row, and a blue one for a section. This will work on sections, modules, or row, but I want it to scroll to a section, so I'm going to go into the section. I'm going to go to Advanced, CSS IDs and Classes. We're going to use an ID for this, which is what you always use if you want to scroll to something. I'm just going to call this one Hero. Let's go up to our next section. I'll call this one Stats, Advanced, CSS ID and Classes, Stats. That's great. Okay, and now to demonstrate how this is actually going to work, let's go into our slider, and I'll direct this button to scroll down to the Stats section. So let's go into our module, our slider module here. Here are our two slides. Let's go into the first one. There's the button, but we want the URL for the button. So the link, button link. And because it's a CSS ID to scroll to it, we need to have a hashtag before it. And then the name of the CSS ID. And it was stats, wasn't it? Great. And we'll do the same for the second one. In fact, let's make the second one go to the hero section below, the one we called hero. Here's button link URL for the second one. Again, because it's a CSS ID, we need to have a hashtag first, and that was just called hero. Save everything. We'll just demonstrate, make sure this is going to work. Exit the visual builder. Okay, now this link should take us down to a section below. There we go, fantastic. And the next link, this one should take us down to that hero section. There we go, fantastic. And that's the way it works, as simple as that. So let's now add some buttons. I want to add a button to this one to take it to this one. And I'm going to add a button to this one that eventually will take it to whatever we put below here. And again, really easy. So let's get started. Let's go down to where we want to work, which is this section right here. And just under here, I'm going to add a new row because I could put a button there, but that's row split into two columns. I want a single column for my button. And inside, I'm going to put a button right here. And we need to put in what we want the button to say. And the link, which we know, I want it to take it to the hero section. So I'm going to put hashtag hero. Wants to open in the same window, obviously. Let's go over to our design now and actually design our button. You can see it's actually put it in there if I move this over to the right hand side. And I want my button to be purple, just like our ones up here. And when I hover over it, I think I'll change it perhaps to a blue color. So we're in the design. Alignment, I want it to be in the middle. Text is fine, but I want to change it to a white color or a light color. But I think I'll do that within the actual button itself. So in the button now, I'm going to hit the use styles for button switch, turn it to on or yes. Text size is absolutely fine. Text color I want to be white. Button background, I want it to be purple. But I also want the border to be purple. Now when I hover over this thing, I want it to turn it blue. So to set your hover effect, just go over to button background in the dark writing here. When you hover over it, these icons will appear. Simply click on the arrow, select the hover state. Once you've got that highlighted, put in the color you want the hover state to be. And it's a good idea to do your border the same color, but of course that's entirely up to you. Same thing, hover over it, hit the arrow to get the options up. In the hover state, we want it to be blue too. Fantastic. Now let's roll on down a little bit. Font, everything's fine. I mean, I could capitalize it. What's our button at the top? No, I think I'll leave it lowercase just to stay similar. I do want to use a button icon. I'm just going to have a sort of down type arrow for the icon. That's going to do fine. You can only see it when you hover over it, but I'm going to change that. The icon color itself's fine as white, but I'm going to change that. Yes, I want it on the right, but I want it to show not just when you hover on it like this. I want it to show it all the time. Great. Now I'm going to add a bit of padding to the button to actually make it a little bit wider. So let's close off our button and go down to spacing. Here's the padding. Top and bottom's fine. I just want to make it wider. So I'm going to get 50 on the left I could give it 50 on the right or hit the chain, but I don't think that'll be enough. Now I've got an icon in there. I kind of like to offset it so that the icon space is part of the text, so I want more gap this side. So let's just give it an extra 10, make it 60. I think that's going to work for me. So that's great. Let's save our changes. Now what I want to do now, I want to save this to my library so I can just put it wherever I want to put it. Because I'm going to be putting buttons in different sections throughout this site, so it's an idea to just copy it and I can just use it over and over again. So I'm going to hit this little icon here, the circle. I'm going to save it to my library. I'm just going to call it button. Or button purple, whatever you want to call it. Button's fine. Don't want to make it global because I'm going to have different text and probably different links in each one. If you make it global, once you change it on one, it'll change it on all of them. So I'm just going to hit the save to library. We're good to go. So while we're in the builder, may as well put our button here. So again, I'm just going to add a new module. This time I'm going to add it from the library. Add from library. There's our button we just saved. And there it is right there. That's fantastic. But I want it. Color's alright. I thought I might reverse it to the blue, but the color's fine. So the only thing I want to do is change the link because we don't want it linking to this section. So I'm just going to leave a hashtag in there, which will go back at the top. But we'll still see the button with a link in there. And I'm going to have it say full story because the next bit below is going to be a bit of a hero section, but it's going to be split hero and sort of image section. So I'm going to say full story. There we are. We've successfully added our button. Let's save our changes and make sure the previous button is going to work. Once saved, exit the Visual Builder. And let's go down and let's make sure this button is going to take us to the hero section below. Fantastic. Now this one will just take us back up to the top because it's just got a hashtag in there until we do the next section. So there we go. There's how to add buttons to scroll to various different sections to your site, and also how to save them and reuse them. So let's continue on. In our last video we added some buttons to scroll to the various different sites. And in this video I'm going to add another section below this. It's called the full story. It's going to be a split full width row with an image and the details about our product. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder. Once enabled, let's go down to where we want to work, which is right here. And I'm going to add a new section with the blue button. I'm going to make it a regular section. I'm going to split it into 2 columns. Now before I put anything in here, I want to make this row full width. So I'm going to get out of there. See the green tab for the row? The row at the moment is just stretching the width of our usual content. I want to make it full width so it reaches both sides of the screen. And to do that, let's just go into our row. Green tab for a row, blue for a section, and a dark tab for a module. So let's go into our row. We'll go over to design and sizing. Now Divi used to have a button, you could just flip it and it'd do this for you. I'm not quite sure why they removed that. But anyway, put the width up to 100%, then copy the 100% and paste it in the max width below, or you can type it in, whichever works for you. And we've now got a full width row, really easy to do. Okay, and I don't want any space between the section and the actual row itself. So let's actually make the contents of the row, then we'll get rid of the space on the section. So our first one, it's going to be just a text module and it's going to be about our product. So for our first little text module, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to give the title of the product. and as you can see, it's right there. Now I'm going to change where it is, but I want to make this a lot bigger. I'm going to make it purple in color because I'm going to actually have a dark background. So let's go to our design tab. I'm actually going to make this a title, so I'm going to select it, go up to where it says paragraph, hit the drop down. I'm going to make it a heading 2. And if you hit the little blue paintbrush icon or go to your design tab, it'll take you straight to the edit. But it's design, heading text H2. Okay, so I'm going to have it capitalized. I'm going to have it semi-bold. In fact, I'll go the whole hog. Let's make it bold. I want it purple in color. And for the time being, I'm going to leave it on the left, but I am going to give it some padding. I'll say 100 pixels just to bring it away from the side there. So we'll go down to spacing. I'm going to say padding left 100. Great, that's fine for our title. I might decide to make that a little bit bigger in a minute. Let's give our section a colored background now. So if we go into the section, the blue tab, simply going to give it a background color of black. And save our changes. Now let's add some more information about our product. I'm going to add another little module with a dark plus sign right there. I'm going to add another text module. And inside here I'm going to put the full content and details about my product. And just sorting out any paragraph issues that are going on there. That seems to be fine now. And again, I want to make that a bit bigger. I want to make it white. So let's go to our design, or again, you can just go to the little paintbrush, it's up to you. And this is the regular text. So I'm going to make it white. I'm going to make it a lot bigger. Something like that, perhaps. It's very easy to read. I want to give it at least 100 pix padding on the left. I think I'll give it some on the right too. So let's go down to spacing. And padding left and right 100. You don't have to put the pix in, it'll put it there for you. Hit the chain, it'll do the opposite one. If you want to use VW, viewable width or percentage, just select the pix and type in VW or percentage. But that's good for me at the moment, that's fine. Let's save our changes. Okay, now let's put our image on the right hand side here. So I'm simply going to go down to an image module and let's choose the image we want. Just drag the image in and upload it. Great, now this image I want it to be touching top and bottom. And I'm going to adjust the row so there's no gutter, and I'm going to make this bigger and spread it out and add a button this side too. So as we can see, we've got a bit of padding top and bottom. So let's get rid of that on our section and see where we stand. Let's just save the image. I'm going to go into my section, blue tab. Let's get rid of any padding top and bottom. Design, spacing, make sure there's none there. But we still got a little bit, so I imagine there's some on the row. So let's go into our row, the green tab. And while we're in here, I want to make sure there's no what they call gutters, and that's the gap between modules. So we've got a straight split 50-50 down the middle. So I'm going to go to design, sizing wise, use custom gutter width. I'll check that. I'm going to take that all the way down to 0. So I know we got 50-50 now. Now let's just check our spacing. So let's go down to spacing and make sure there's no padding top and bottom. Fantastic, that should do it. Look now, yep, that image is all the way down at the bottom and there's no gap at the top. Okay, well, let's adjust this. So I'm going to go into the module. I'm going to go to my design. Let's move this over so we can see a little easier. And again, if you just click the paintbrush icon. Okay, well, I want to make that quite a bit bigger. Yeah, something like that. Great. Now I want some space at the top and at the bottom because I want to spread this out so it sort of fills our screen here. So let's go to our spacing. And I'm going to add 100 pixels top. I think I'll add it to the bottom as well. Yeah, that's fine. And I'm going to make this text bigger. So let's save our heading right there. Go into this one. Go to our text. Let's make our text size a little bit bigger. And let's make the line height a little bit more so the lines are a little more spread out. Maybe too much. Actually, I think that's going to work. That's fine. Okay, and last thing, let's just add a little button below. Now, if you watched our last video, you saw that we saved and created these buttons here. So let's just load one of these buttons. If you missed that video, have a look at the playlist below and you'll find it in there. So let's hit add new module, add from library. Let's grab one of our buttons. Great. Now I want to put it further down. I think I want to keep it on the left hand side. So let's go into the module. I'm going to go to design, alignment, I want it on the left. I'm going to have to give it 100 padding just to make sure it's on the same as the rest of them. So let's go down to our spacing. I'm going to give it 100 on the top. I'm actually going to use margin for this button rather than padding, because if I use padding on the top of it, it's going to make the button itself bigger. I'll demonstrate. I'll just put in 50 pixels there. As you can see, that's added 50 pixels to the top of the button. If you want big fat buttons, that's a great way of doing it, but I don't for this particular project. Let's get rid of that. So I'm going to use margin top, and I'm going to give it 100 on top, keep it consistent, and 100 on the left. There we go, that's in line now, and that's just about where we want it. Now I need it to say our customers say, or testimonials, because it's going to go down to a section that we haven't built yet below called testimonials. So let's go into the text and or whatever it is you want to say on your button. And for the link, just going to put a hashtag in there so we've got something to show. Great, so I think we're done with our little split hero section. Save our changes, save our page changes, and exit the visual builder. Now then, let's go down to where we were working. And there he is. There's a nice little split 50-50 image and text section. So let's continue on. In our last video we did a sort of split hero section, which was this one. Today let's do a full width testimonial slider. Now we're going to have to use a bit of imagination on this because it doesn't actually include one with a Divi theme, so we're going to make this out of a poster slider today. And it works absolutely fine. As you can see, it's going to revolve and bring up the testimonials. So to get started, let's go to our dashboard on our site we're building and create some posts, which is what we're going to use. So we're going to go to the dashboard. I'm going to go to posts. I'm going to say add new. And my first title is going to be Portable Office. And I guess we'll use the Divi builder. I'm going to build from scratch. And I'm just going to use one column, one row. I'm going to put a text module in there. And for my content, we've got our heading up there that we just created. For the content, I'm simply going to put I've got some dummy text right there. Put a bit of space there, and I'm going to make the name a heading. Let's make it heading 3. Let's also make it bold. And the actual job title, I'm going to drop that down one as well. We'll make this one heading 4. Now, because we're not actually viewing these posts, this is actual testimonial that's going to come up here. It's going to have the title, then it's going to have the content there. If you wanted to add a small image of the person themselves, that's fine. You could do that there too, just by adding media right here. Okay, so I'm fairly happy with that. The actual contents themselves, I'm going to go in there and just display the text centrally. So I've gone to design and text, and I'm going to put it in center just like that. Okay, for the time being, I'm not going to change anything there. I'm going to save that. I'm going to publish the post. And I'm going to repeat this 3 or 4 times till we've got 4 of them. So let's go back to our posts. And there's our first one right there. So I'm going to create another 3 or so of these so we've got something to revolve around. Okay, so I've done 3. I'm going to do one more. I'm just going to show you an easy way of cloning your posts. So let's add a new. I'm going to add it in a new tab here. And we'll give it a title. I'm going to use the Divi builder. Now, to save time, I'm just going to clone one of the posts that we've just done, which is what I've been doing to replicate these. I'm going to go over here and say clone existing page. And here are the posts I've created before. I'm just going to grab any one of those because they're all pretty much the same. And it's loaded in there. This way we can keep all the formatting. All I have to do is replace the text. So let's put the dummy text in here, more dummy text. It doesn't make any sense, but it's something for the testimonial to say. And then with the name, I find it's easier if you go one character in, leave one on the end there and paste in your new one. It'll keep the formatting for you if you leave that first character in, then delete it. And the same with the job description. So we'll leave that S in there, paste that in there, and then just delete that afterwards. And that's it done. Publish our posts, and we're ready to rock and roll. Okay, now we've got our posts. Let's go back to our site. Let's go down to where we want to work, which is right here. Let's enable our visual builder. And go back down to where we just were. Now I'm going to create a new section with the blue button right there, but this time I'm going to use a full width section, and I'm going to use a full width post slider so we can use those posts as testimonials. And there it is right there. Post count, well, we've only got 4, so I guess I'll put 4 in there. Now we haven't given it any categories because it's the only post we've got. If you're going to be posting other stuff, it'd be a good idea to give these categories. I'll show you how to do that in a moment with the quick edit. But at the moment we can uncategorize, and as you can see, it's popped up right there in the bottom. So let's make it look a little more interesting. And we don't need a read more button, so we'll turn that off in a minute. I want to display the whole content there, so we got their name. There we go. I don't want that metadata, and I don't want the button. So if we move down to elements, show arrows. Arrows is fine, controls are fine, controls are the little dots. Don't want to read more button, and I don't want to show the metadata. So we've got the title, the content, and the name. We're not using the featured image because we didn't give it one. We don't need to link it to anything unless you wanted to link it to the sales page below. I'm not going to give it a background. We'll do that all with our section itself. Let's go to our design. And let's just up that title text a bit, which is the name right there. And I'll change the line height as well. I'm going to make that, let's make that bold for the title. When you're happy, let's save. Let's just go back in here and make sure we haven't got a background color, because I'm going to do that on the section itself. So I'm going to remove that background color on the actual post slider settings itself. There we go. Now let's go to our section. Because it's a full width section, we've got a purple tab. So let's just go into there. I want to give it a sort of purple background. There we go, but I want to make it a lot darker. So I'm going to click on the color, just bring that down. Sort of purpley blue type color. That's fine like there. You can see the writing and everything perfectly. But I'm also going to add one of our laptop images here, and I'm going to have it on the left hand side. So still on background here, we want to go, we've got color, we've already put that in. You've got a gradient, and I want to go to image. Let's add the image I want, and I'll use that one right there. But I don't want it huge and in the middle like that, so let's adjust it a little bit. I don't want it to cover. Let's try actual size. Yep, that's about right. And I don't want it in the center. I want it on the left hand side. So we'll say center left. We could try bottom left actually. I don't know if that would work any better. No, center left seems to be better. Top left works fine too. I think I'll leave it right like that. And let's just give our section a bit of padding top and bottom so we can see the whole laptop picture in there. Let's go to our design, to spacing, and let's give it, say, 50 pixels top and bottom should do it. There we go, we've got our whole laptop in there, everything's perfectly legible. Great, so we're happy with that. Let's go back in our little slider, testimonial slider here, and put the settings to automatic. So we want to go to design, animation, automatic animation. We want to turn that to on. It's going to revolve every 7 seconds at 7,000. I'm going to make it 5 seconds, 5 or 5,000 milliseconds, same thing. I want it to continue automatic slide on hover. So in other words, if somebody puts their mouse over it, it's going to stop so they can read what they want to read there, which is great, which is what I'm going to leave that exactly as it is. So I think we're good to go. Let's just save our changes. Save the page changes. And exit the Visual Builder. Go down to where we were. And there it is, there's our little testimonial slider. And as you can see, it's changing every 5 seconds. I think I might just bring that text size up a little bit. In fact, I could bring the text size up a bit and put a gap between the end of the text and the name there. So let's just go into our posts. Let's go into the first one. I'll do this, and then I'll pause it and do the others. So I'm going to hit edit with Divi. And we'll go into the module. I want to go to design. I just want to go to the regular text. I'm going to bring that up to 16. I think that'll do it. Or even 17. And I'm going to go in there and I'm going to add an extra space between the end of the text and the chap's name right there. When we're happy, save the changes. And we'll go and do the same for the others. So I'll pause the video and just do those quickly. Okay, so I've updated them all. While we're on this page, let's show you how to create a category. Just go down under posts here, or click on posts and expand it and go down to categories. I'll open this in another tab. Simply give your category a new name. I'm going to say test for testimonials. Slug, which is what will appear up here. That's where testimonials. I haven't got an parent category and I don't need a description. So I'll just add the new category. And there it is right there. Let's go back to our post now. I'll just refresh this page. And the easiest and quickest way to do this is go into quick edit and just check the category you want it to be. Update. And as you can see, that's now in that one. Do the same for all the rest. Job done. So we should be good to go now. We've saved everything. Let's go back to our page and just refresh. That writing should be a bit bigger there and our name should be separated a bit more. There we go. So there's our full width testimonial carousel. And we did this testimonial slider in the last video. Let's move on. I go to the other site and do whatever comes next, which I think was a video. Yep, it was just a video. And we need to add the button to our testimonial slider. So let's get started. Really easy to do. So I'm going to go to our site. I'm going to enable the visual builder. Once enabled, let's go down where we want to work, which is below our testimonials here. Let's add a new section. I'm going to make it a regular section. I'm going to give it 1 column, 1 row. And I want to add a video module, which is right down there at the bottom. So I'm going to go to YouTube, get a URL, shareable URL for a video. I want to hit the settings or trash it, however you want to do. I'm going to hit the little cog there. I'm going to say insert from URL. And I'm going to paste my YouTube video URL in there. And there it is. Insert into post. Great, so we're happy with that. Very easy to do there. Now, just want to change the color on the background of this section here. So let's go in there just to make it a little more interesting. I'm going to give it a gradient background. You've got color, gradient, image or video. And for the gradient, let's have purple up the top and blue at the bottom. There we go, that's fine. Now I just want to insert a button below this video so we can direct them to the pricing, which will be a couple of sections below this. So I'm going to hit the little plus to add a new module, but I'm going to go to our library. Now to save things to the library and reuse them like we did here, have a look at the buttons video. It'll be in the playlist below this video if you're not sure how to do this. I'm just going to click the button. There it is. And I just want to say pricing. Let's say pricing options. There we go. And I won't put a link in there yet because we haven't got anywhere for it to go. So there's our little video section. Save our changes and exit the visual builder. Go down and take a look. And there it is. Make sure it's going to work.
New MacBook Pro. Of course, I'm
Yeah,
very interested.
fantastic. Great, so there's our little video section. So before we do our price tables, which will be our next build, we need to install a plugin called WooCommerce, which is absolutely free, so we can actually sell this product and take people's money and send them a product. So let's get started. Here's our site as we left it last time. The only difference is I've added another clock for urgency, another countdown timer like we've got here, sale on for whatever amount of time you choose. And I put the clock in again just to remind people that time's running out on the sale. Now the only other section we've done that I haven't covered is this little sort of split hero section here, and it's done exactly the same way as our split hero section up here. The only difference is got our image over there, but I've got a little gallery module in here that's just rotating around a couple of images. Simple Divi gallery module. So I'm not going to cover that because it's exactly the same. If you want to see how to do that, have a look at that split hero section up the top. All right, well, let's go ahead and install our plugin. So let's go to our dashboard. We'll go to Appearance. And just under Appearance, you'll see Plugins. Click on Plugins. And there's a couple there. I'm going to go ahead and delete them. Akismet, I'm not using it. And Hello Dolly, I'm not using it either. That's a backup plugin. I'll cover that when we finish this site. It's a great little plugin for backing up and restoring your site. You can also use it to move site. So we need to add WooCommerce now to be able to sell products. So I'm going to hit the Add New. I'm going to type in WooCommerce. And there it is right there. As I say, it's absolutely free, and it's probably the only plugin you're going to need for actually selling products. So let's install it now. Once installed, let's hit activate. So I'm going to hit yes please. And you need to put in your address. Where you're located. And for expediency, I'll say Alabama. And let's hit the continue button. Now you can check this box. I always like to check it and say continue because it sends data to WooCommerce and helps them improve their product. As my site's offline, I'm building it on my local computer. I'm not going to bother today, but usually I would check that. So I'm going to hit the continue. Electronics and computers. We're going to selling physical products. We're not going to be doing software downloads or subscriptions or memberships or composite, etc. So let's continue. 1 to 10. Currently selling elsewhere? No, not at the moment. I'm not going to use these because it's all separate, so I'm going to just switch these off and hit the continue. Okay, well I've already got my theme installed. We did that first thing round, so we can skip this step. So I'm just going to go back to the dashboard. I'm going to close down this tab, go to my site, go to the dashboard. There's our WooCommerce. Let's click on settings. And I'm going to skip the setup because the only thing left to set up is the theme, and we've already got that. Okay, so everything's set up just the way we want it. And the pop-ups just prompted us to set up our store and start selling. All we need to do is add our first product and we're good to go. So we'll be doing that in the next video. So let's continue and actually create our first product. So let's go back to our original site where we left off. Here's the WooCommerce where we left it. And while we're here, let's set up our payment options. Shipping. There's our location in there. And I'm going to do flat rate shipping. And I'm not going to ship to the rest of the world. I'm going to put $20. That should cover my shipping costs for this product. Now you can set up different shipping for different areas if you want to. I don't need to do label printing, but you can do that here if you wish. Now let's set up our tax. And you can configure that right here. And standard, I'll call this. It's also going to attach the shipping. I'm going to take that off. So we'll save those changes. And let's add our payment method. I'm simply going to use PayPal for mine. And just put the PayPal address that you want to be paid to right in there. And let's continue. Let's create our first product now. So I'm going to click on the products and hit the create product button. And my product's going to be called MacBook 16-inch. And I'm going to add a product description. And let's add a price. And for the plain MacBook on its own, it's going to be $19.89. If you want to put a sale price in and reduce it, you can do so there. I don't want to do that. Short description is what's going to appear right beside it. So let's just take some of this and use it for a short description. There we go. I want to add a T on the end of there and put a full stop at the bottom there. Now we need to actually add a product image. And I'll use that one. And we'll put a couple of more images in there, the gallery, they'll appear underneath the product. So I'll use that one, and that one. There we go, as you can see there. Now we want to give it a category. It really doesn't matter because we're only selling the one product, but we'll add a new category just for the sake of it. So I'm going to add a new category. I'm going to call it MacBook. Hit the add new category button. As you can see, it's already put it in there for us. Alright, so we've got our product there. We've got the price. Now we're going to create 3 products, and I'll do 3 simple products. We could do 1 variable product, but for ease I'm going to do 3 simple products. So let's publish this and preview what it looks like. There we go. And we're going to customize our product page to look more like our site, perhaps in the next video. So what I need to do now is add two more products, one with a case and one with a case and warranty. And the easiest way to do that, if we just look at the original, yeah, we had one with a case, $19.99, and one with a case and a warranty at $20.99. So let's add those. Go back to our all products. And I find the easiest way to do it is to duplicate this product. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate. And if I had, I'm going to put with case inside the brackets there. If I had a picture of a case, I could add it to the gallery images below here, but I don't, so that's fine. Just need to change the price to $19.99, I think it was, yep. And publish that one. Great. And let's rinse and repeat. We're going to go to all products. I'm going to duplicate this one, hit the little duplicate button. And I'll delete the copy. I'll say with case and warranty. And we said the price was $20.99, I think. Let's just check that. Yep, that's fine. And let's publish that one. We've now got our three products. Great, so let's go back to our all products. And now we've got them, there they are. In our next video, we'll go ahead and go in and customize the product page. Now in our last video, we set up our products, so we're all ready to go. In this one, let's customize our product page. We'll take a look at it at the moment. And here it is. I mean, it's okay, it works and everything. People can add it to the cart and buy it. But we really want to make it our own. So let's do that with Divi's inbuilt theme customizer. Just close out a few of these windows here. We'll go down to Divi and we'll go to our theme builder. That will let us build custom pages. Now at the moment we don't have anything here. At some point, or after we've done everything else, we're going to add a global footer to our site. But at the moment we just want to work on the checkout and the product pages themselves. So let's add a new template and decide what we want it to affect. We want it to affect all products. Let's create the template. Now I'm going to add a custom body. I'm going to build a custom body. I'm going to go ahead and build from scratch. I'm going to add two columns because I'll have the images on the left and a short description and price and everything on the right. And it's prompted us to put in some modules. And if we look down the bottom here, because we've got WooCommerce installed, Divi's given us an extra dozen or so modules with WooCommerce right here. And I want Woo images. And I've got to choose the product, which I'm going to leave on this product. If I do that, it's going to work for every product on the page. What elements do we want? We want the featured image and we want the gallery images, and we'll show the sales badge if there are any, but there aren't on this, so it doesn't really matter about that. Don't want to link it to anything and don't want to give it a background, so we're good with that one. Let's move on over to this side, and first thing we want is the product title. Let's go down to our WooCommerce. There's the Woo title, and again I'm going to say this product, and we'll customize these in a moment. That's absolutely fine. Let's go to our section now and give it a gradient background, and then we'll customize what we've got going on inside. I'm going to go to content, background. I'm going to give it a gradient. Just hit that background gradient button, and I'll leave the blue there. I'm just going to add a purple, I think, to the bottom, something like that. That's great, fantastic. Now then, I want to change that title to white, I believe. So we'll go to the design, title text. I'm going to make it a little bit bolder, semi-bold, and I'm going to make it white, and it's fine where it is. Now underneath there we really want a description, so let's add a new module, and we'll say woo description, and we can, I'm going to leave that on this product again. We can choose the short or the long. Short's absolutely fine for me, because I think if I put the long description in there, just a regular description, there'll be too much of it. Yeah, that's too much. So let's leave it on the short description. Let's go to our design, and again I'm going to make that light in color, so I'm on the text tab. I'm just going to give it a white color. That's absolutely fine. You can bring it up a little bit in size if you want to. Great. Right, underneath there I guess we need to put add to cart, so we'll add that one. Down to the bottom to the woo tabs, woo price. There we go. Again, I want to make that fairly big. I'm going to leave it on this product. Again, I'm leaving all of these on this product, so it'll choose whatever product selected and apply this page to all of them. Great. So I want that price to be a bit bigger and a bit bolder, so price text. We've not got a sales price, so I don't need to worry about that. I'll make it white. We'll make it a little bit bolder as well, semi-bold perhaps. There we go, and let's bring it up a little bit in size. And of course we need to add an add to cart button underneath, so let's add that one. Down to the woos, woo add to cart. There we go. And the only thing I really want to change here is the color of those and the color of the button itself. Again, I'm going to leave it on add to cart. You can choose the elements you want to show here if you want to, but I want quantity and I want stock as well. That's fine. In fact, I don't need to show stock, but quantity that they want to buy, we'll use that. Let's go to our design. Change that text color to white so it can be read a little bit easier. And again, I think I'll just zoom that up a little bit. That's fine. These I'm happy with. Read that perfectly well. But we've actually got no options on ours, so they won't appear anyway. Next thing I want to do is to go to the buttons. I want to use custom styles for my button. Text style is fine. Text color. I want to add a background color to the button. I'm going to make it purple. I want the color of the text to be white. Don't want that border around it particularly, so I can either make it purple or take the border away. I think I'll go ahead and take the border away. There we go. Now when I hover over that button, I want it to turn blue. So we'll go to our color where it says button background here, hit the little arrow, hit the hover option, and put in whatever color you want it to be on hover. There we go. So we're good to go with that. Now I want to add a notice that it's been added to the cart, and I also want to put the countdown timer up here. So I'm going to add a new row. It's a green button for a row. I'm going to go down here and add the cart notice. There we go. And again, let's just change that color a little bit there, design wise. Let's make the button purple, exactly like we did with the other button. I'll leave the text color white. Background color I'm going to make purple. That's absolutely fine. Don't want a border on it. That's great. Now our actual notification background, let's make that blue, a darker blue. There we go. That's good. I'm going to pop this up the top, so when it pops up, people will see it at the top there. So let's save that. One more thing I want to do is add the countdown time of the page as well to give a sense of urgency. So we saved that as a section, so I'm going to hit add new section. I'm going to say add from library. There's our timer. Now I'm going to pop this one all the way up to the top. There we go. All I did was grab it, left clicked on the little cross there and pulled it to where I want it. And I'm going to pull this row up underneath it so that when they add it to the cart, it'll pop up above the image there so they can see it. Great, so I think we're done with customizing the product page. So before we save it, let's have a look at the old one. That's right there. Now let's save it and see what changes we've got. Let's save the page changes. And exit out. Make sure our changes are all saved. Now let's go and refresh our page and see what we've got. And there it is. There's our little MacBook Pro. We've got our countdown timer at the top. We can go ahead and add it to the cart when we're ready. Once you've added it to the cart, the notification is going to pop up there and you can go ahead and view the cart. And guess what's going to be our next task? You got it. Let's customize our cart page. Now in our last video, we customized our product page so it looks more like the rest of our site. Now what we need to do is actually, if I go to the cart, we need to customize our cart and checkout pages so they match our site. That's really easy to do with the Divi theme. So let's get started. What I need to do is go to our theme builder. I've got it up here. If you go to your dashboard, down to Divi and go to theme builder. In our last video we did a custom body for our products. Let's add a new template and do a custom body. Now for the checkout, if we roll down, decide what we want to affect, checkout and the cart page. Now these will be a bit more simpler than doing it for the actual product page because we're pretty much stuck with the format of the cart and checkout pages. We can just change our button colors and background colors. Let's go ahead and add a custom body. We'll build a custom body. And we'll build from scratch. And here it is. Before I even put a row in here, let's make it a similar background to our last one, which was that sort of blue-purple gradient. So I'm going to go into the cog for the section. I'm going to go to background. I'm going to add a gradient. You've got color, gradient, image or video. I want to add a gradient. I'm going to leave the blue in there and simply put a purple in the bottom end. Great. Now, to make this work, we need to add a row, obviously. And inside, we want the contents of the cart and the checkout page. Now, to do that, we want to go down to post content, which will show the content of the actual page we're on. Now the only real things I want to do here is change the text. I want to make all my text light in color. So let's go in there. We'll go to our design. Go down. I'm going to make it white. And as you see, it's going to disappear for here. Now we need to do this for our headings as well. So let's go into our headings, go down a little bit just below the regular text. H1 we're on at the moment. Again, I want to make it white, you'll see it disappear. I also want to make it semi-bold. So I'm going to make it regular, semi-bold. Now to save going through and doing all of these, I'm going to right click and hit copy heading H1 styles, and I'm going to go to 2, paste, 3, paste, 4, paste, 5, paste. This way we've covered all the bases, and 6, paste. So we're pretty much good to go there. Let's just save, and we'll save. Once saved, exit out, make sure our page changes are saved. Okay, here's our original cart. When I update, it should change everything for us. Now we'll need to tweak a few things, but I'll show you how to do that. There we go, we've got that nice gradiated background there. We've got our white text here. Our buttons we're going to need to change, and our links we're going to need to change right there. And this is all in our customizer. This is the default setup at the moment. So let's go in there and we can change these quite easily. I think I'm happy with leaving those links like that, but let's go and change it. So I'm back in our dashboard. Let's go down to Divi. This time we'll go to our theme customizer. And once loaded, let's go down to our buttons and button style, text color. I want that to be white. That's great. Background color, I'm going to have that as purple. When you put your background color in, make sure the opacity slider is all the way up so it's a nice solid full color, or whatever it is you want. I'm not going to have a border, so I'm going to take the border width down to 0. So don't need to worry about border color or radius. It's going to have a slight curve there. So I don't want to change anything else. Let's go back and set the hover style. Again, I want the text color to be white. Background color this time, I'm going to make blue. And I'm not going to set a border color because we just don't need one. Again, I'm going to take that opacity up so this color is nice full blue. So we'll publish that. The only other thing that we really needed to do when it'll apply that to these buttons here are these links right here. So let's take care of those. If we go back, we'll go back to our root here. Now let's go into our general settings. Go into our typography, and here we've got our body link color. I'm going to change that to white. Let's publish this, and we'll go back to our cart page, and that should have taken care of those updates for us. Let's refresh the page now. There we go, we've got our purple buttons there that turn to blue when we hover over them. Our links are now white. Update cart, if I change that to 2, that becomes active. Let's go ahead and proceed to checkout and see what it's done to the checkout page. And there we go, we've got our checkout page also with our color scheme that we selected. So that is how to customize the cart and checkout pages. In our last videos, we customized the actual product page, the cart, and the checkout pages. Let's create our price tables today. So let's go to the site that doesn't have this on there yet and enable the Visual Builder. Once enabled, let's go down to where we want to work. And add a new section. Little blue button to add a section. I'm going to make it a regular section. I'm going to have 1 column, 1 row. Now Divi comes as standard with all of these modules here. And today I'm going to be using the price module. There we go, pricing tables. Alright, And as you can see, it's put in a couple of sort of generic looking pricing tables. We're just going to expand on these. And what I'm going to do is simply going to delete the second one. We'll work on the single one. Then when we've got it how we want it, we'll duplicate it and change things around a little bit. But before I do any of that, let's get our section taken care of. I just want to give it a gradient background, be in keeping with the rest of the site. So I'm going to go into the section cog. I'm going to go to background. I'm going to hit gradient. You've got color, gradient, image or video. Add a background gradient. And I'm going to leave the blue in there, and I think I'm going to switch the bottom to the purple that we've used everywhere else. There we go, great. Let's save that and go back into our module now. Blue for a section, green for a row, and dark tab for a module. Let's go into our module. And here we are. I'm going to go into the first one that we've got here for the title. I'm going to give it the title of our computer, which was a MacBook Pro, wasn't it? And it was a 16-inch. There we go. And for the subtitle, we're going to have 3 different ones. We're going to be selling the laptop on its own. We created these products earlier on in previous videos. Take a look at that if you need to find out how to do it. We're going to have one that's just a laptop, one with a laptop and case, one with a laptop case and a warranty. So let's put laptop only on this one. Great, currency, that's fine. Currency is fine, the dollar sign there. Frequency, don't need that, because frequency would be if you were charging a monthly or a yearly or a weekly fee, but this is a one-time purchase. Now our price for that is $19.89. And on the button, I want it to say buy now. And we'll direct this button to the product itself so they can actually purchase it from the site here. Now here's our included features, and I've got these from the specs from my actual machine itself, so I'm going to copy and paste them in. And where you see a plus sign, that's the included one. Where you see a minus sign, they're the sort of grayed out ones that are not included, and we'll style those a bit more later on. Screen size, processor size, or processor speed I suppose, amount of RAM installed. Now I want to add a couple of more that are included, so I'm simply going to, let's get a gap in there, we go. I'm going to copy this, Control C to copy, and drop down and paste it in below and just change it to what I want, which is the hard drive size. Now where there's a minus, like I said before, those are the sort of grayed out ones that are not included. So we're not going to include a laptop case. And it's exactly the same. If you want to add more, just copy the one above. That's the easiest way to do it. And of course you can put all your features in with plus signs if you want, and then just change the plus sign to minus to change it to the sort of highlighted out ones. So we've got just about everything I want there. Now the button link, we want to link this to a product. Now we can do it dynamically with Divi, or you can go to the product page itself and just paste the link in here if you want to. So if I click on the dynamic, I want it to be a product link. I need to select my product. Simple one just on its own right there. Save that. And we're good. Now I don't want the module link itself, the whole module, to link anywhere, so I'm going to leave that on blank. We want it to open in the same window because we don't want to leave the site to do this. Okay, for a background, let's give it the purple color we've been using. Now it's kind of hard to see our text now that we've put that in there. That's fine, we can change all that in our styling. So let's go up to our styling. I'll just move this out of the way, you'll be able to see it a bit better. There we go. Now we're going to have 3 of them, and the middle one I'll make featured, and it'll stand out a bit more than the others. If I go back here, that's a featured one, and as you can see it's sort of raised up above the others a little bit, so I don't want that for our first one. Bullet points, I'm happy with them as they are at the moment. They're that sort of blue colour, that's fine. Just select a different colour here if you prefer. Now the text colour, I want to make that white, and I want it to be, it's fine where it is on the left, but I want it to be visible, so I need to make it white or light in colour. Inside the title text you've got the header background colour. I'm going to make this a sort of darker version of this purple colour here, so I'm going to click on the purple, click on the colour itself, and to differentiate it I'm going to pull it down to a sort of darker version of it, something like that. That's great. Title text is already white, just what we want. Don't want to change the size, everything's fine, the font and everything. You can capitalize and do everything you want here, but for me that works absolutely perfectly. So let's move on down to our body text now. And I want to make that white. Like I say, it's fine on the left. Looks a bit strange at the moment just with this wide body here, but that's going to work out perfectly for us. Now if we roll on down a bit more, subtitle text, that's absolutely fine at the moment, so I don't need to change that. Price text, that works for me, but the currency, the $sign there, I want to make that a little bit bigger. I might make it sort of semi-bold, so it's a little bit fatter, so I'll make it semi-bold. I'll make it white. I'm going to make it quite a bit bigger. Now that it's bigger, I think regular would probably be better than semi-bold. But yeah, that's great. That's perfectly legible there. Okay, let's keep rolling down. Now our excluded item text were the ones with a minus behind it. So I really want that to be sort of barely visible. Just visible but barely visible. So what we'll do is I'll go into the actual colour itself and I'll take the opacity down, or the see-throughness if you like. Make sure it's white. I'll take the opacity down. There we go. So that looks pretty obvious that that's kind of greyed out there. And the buttons, the little bullets themselves, are fine that colour because they're different from the ones that are included. Great. Now you can change the size if you want to, but I'm happy with everything. Now let's just style our little button at the bottom there. So I'm going to go in there. I'm going to say custom styles from button. Text size, that's okay. Button background, I want that to be blue. That's fine. And when they hover on it, I'll kind of make it that darker purple colour. And to set the hover state, let's go up to button background up the top here, hit the little arrow. 2 boxes appear, desktop, non-hover state, and hover when your mouse is on it. And for there I'm going to use that purple. And again, to differentiate it, I'm going to click on the colour and make it a lot darker. Something like that. That's perfect. I'd like that button to be a little bit wider. So if we go down a little bit more, I don't want the icon on there. When you hover over it, you've got an icon. If you want that, that's fine. Just leave it to yes and choose your icon from below. Alignment is center, that's fine. Now the button margin is the space around it. The button padding is the space around the actual text there. So let's make it a little bit wider. So left and right, let's give that 50 pixels. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Could even go a little bit more. Just put in the number, you don't have to put in pixels, it'll put that for you. And if you check the little chain there, it'll do the opposite side for you. Okay, I'd like to capitalize that text. I guess I should have done that above. I'm just going to give it a bit of box shadow just down below. Just makes it stand out a little bit. Let's go up and just capitalize that text. Button font style, 2 capitals there. There we go. Alright, well I think we're pretty much in business for that. So let's save that. Now we're back in our main pricing table settings. I'm going to duplicate it twice by hitting the clone button, 1 and 2. And that's a little bit more like it. Let's move on to our second one here. And this we do want to make our sort of most popular or highlighted. So let's go in there. And we'll just change a few things on this one. Well, firstly, I've got to tell them what the difference is. So it's laptop with case, isn't it? Everything else is fine there. The price is slightly more, it's $19.99. Button buy now is absolutely fine. We'll change the color of it because we're going to change the actual background of this particular one. Now, all I need to do is change the minus on the laptop case and it'll be highlighted and have the correct bullet to indicate included. So select the minus and just simply put in a plus. There we go. As you can see, that's done that for us. Don't need a link because the button's going to take care of that for us. Background, let's try giving it a blue color. Fantastic. I actually want to change our price background here when we go in there. So I think I'll make that the same color as the rest of these, but I did want these to stand out. So let's go into our design here. Layout, this one, I do want this as featured. So click that and as you can see that's raised it up a little bit for me. The bullets are absolutely fine. The text is fine. Title is fine. Subtitle, price text. Price area background color. I'm going to change that back to the purple. There we go. And our button, I'm going to kind of reverse that. So let's go to our button. I think everything else is good. Here's our button. Use custom styles button. Yes, we've already got that switched on. Okay, text color's fine, but the background color on regular, I'm now going to make purple. And when they hover on it, I guess I'll make it blue, but a darker blue than we've got going on there, or that dark purple color would work fine. So let's perhaps use that. There it is. That's absolutely fine. That's going to stand out perfectly, as is the purple. Great. So we've done that one. Might want to add a little bit of box shadow to these just for interest value. So if we roll on down, let's have a look at it with a bit of box shadow. Yeah, that's quite nice. So I might add those to the others as well. You see it just underneath there, just gives it, lifts it from the page just a little bit. Okay, well I'm pretty happy with those. We just need to move on to our third one now. And this one is laptop with case and warranty. And we'll use the ampersand, I think, for space. There we go, that's fine. Currency is fine. Frequency, no. And the price is $20.99 for this package. One thing I forgot to do on this was change the link for that button to the correct one, so we'll go back in there and do that in a moment. Buy now is correct. Color, everything is fine. Let's go into the link and the button link URL. We need to select a different product this time. So again, we'll use dynamic product link. And let's have a look. I can't quite read which one's which here. 16 is probably that one. Let's have a look. Great, so let's go to our design tab. And I just want to add a little bit of box shadow. Great, we'll save that one. I need to go back into this second one, make sure that it's got the correct link there. And we want to go down to our link for this one. Product link. Make sure we've got the right one. I think that's correct. Save that, and the only other thing I need to do now is just put a little bit of box shadow under our first one there, because that's not got any on it. It looks like I've accidentally put some on the whole module itself, so let's go back in there. And I'm in the main settings now. And make sure there's no box shadow on there. Fantastic. Back to the content, we'll go into our first one, just add a bit of box shadow. To the design tab, and add a little bit of box shadow. Great, that's good. So let's save everything and see what we've got here. We'll save our page changes and exit the Visual Builder. Go down to where we want to go. And there we have it. Let's see if these are going to work okay. MacBook. Fantastic, there it is. Let's go back and check the next one. MacBook with case. That's the wrong one, so we can change that. And let's check this one. MacBook with case and warranty. Well, that's correct. We just need to change the middle one. So let's do that quickly and we're done. Enable the Visual Builder. Back down to our pricing tables. And let's just edit the link for this middle one here. Go down to link, product link, there we go. Save our changes, exit the Visual Builder, and we're all done. Let's go down where we are, and there's our pricing tables. In our next video, let's sort out our menu at the top, and we'll just have a few little menu items here like we have in this one that are going to take us down to the various sections. So there we go. That's how to add your pricing tables. So I'm going to go to the site that we were building here, and what we need to do is I'll enable the Visual Builder. Now, to make this work, we need to give each of our sections an ID, a CSS ID. Now, I believe we've done a couple already. Let's just have a look at this section. Once you're in a section, go to the Advanced, go to CSS ID and Classes. Okay, this one doesn't have one, so I'll call it Home. And you want to remember these when you put them in, and each one has to be unique for a CSS ID. Let's roll on down to our next section. I think we may have given this one called Specs, CSS ID and Classes. Stats, this is. Roll down on our next one. Not sure if I want a link to that one, but let's link to this one and call it Info. There's the section tab. Remember, it's blue for a section, green for a row, and dark for the module. Let's look at the Advanced tab, CSS ID, and we'll call this Info. And this one wants to be called Testimonials, or we'll shorten it to Test Advanced, CSS ID and Classes. Video, yep, we'll have a link to this one. Advanced. CSS ID in classes. Great. So we've got all of our sections with CSS IDs now. We'll get rid of this in another video when we add the footer. So let's make this all work. We don't want all this junk up here, which is the generic default menu that it puts in there for us. So let's go to our dashboard. I'm going to open mine in another tab and just pop it across here. And let's go down to Appearance and Menus. And we need to create our first menu. So let's create your first menu below. So I'll give it a name. I'll just call it Main. Call it whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. Just something you can identify it with in case you have more than one menu. Hit the Create Menu button. Now we're going to be using custom links for this today because we're not linking to any different pages here. So let's go to Custom Links. And our first one, in the URL, you want to put the name of your CSS ID, and our first one was home, wasn't it? Home. And the text that appears in the menu, I want that to say home. We'll add this to the menu. There it is, great. Next one I think was stats. If I put it in wrong, it won't work, so we'll find out. Stats. Remember to put a hashtag before your CSS ID name. And rather than stats for the name, I think I'll put in specs because that'll make more sense to people for specifications. Great, and below that we've got our home, we've got our stats. Oh, here's our info. We call this one info. So hashtag info, and this is fine. Below info, we had testimonials, which we gave the CSS ID of test, so it's hashtag test. Testimonials for the title that appears in the menu. Below the testimonials we had video. CSS ID was video, so hashtag video. And the title can simply be video also. And I think the next one and last one that we want up there is pricing. So that's hashtag price. So this was hashtag CSS ID, which was price, and we'll call this pricing. And add it to the menu. Great. Now what we need to do is save our menu. Once the menu's saved, we actually need to assign it to this page. And this page is called Home. So let's now go to down to Divi to the theme customizer. Now once we've done it, we need to assign the correct page to be the home page here. To do that, let's go to Home Page Settings, a static page. We want to select the page that we want, which is called Home. There we go, we've now got the correct page. Now we want to assign the menu that we just created to the top here. Now this is called the primary menu right here. So let's go back and we'll go down to menus. Here's main menu, view all locations. Primary menu, remember this is the primary menu. So all we need to do is select our main that we just created, was the name of our menu. There it is. Let's see our specs. That's working fine. Okay, that's not working, and that's not working. I'll tell you why. It's because I haven't saved my page changes after putting that CSS IDs in there. So let's save our page changes. Once saved, we can go back into our customizer. Let's publish what we've got going on here and refresh this page. So once it's reloaded, let's check our links again. Home, that's fine. Specs, that's fine. Info, fantastic. Testimonials, great. Video, fantastic. Pricing, great. So they're all working perfectly. So there you have it. That's how to create the menu to scroll to the various sections of your one-page scrolling site here. So I hope you've enjoyed that and found it useful. In our next video, I'll stop this menu up there from shrinking on scroll. I want it to remain the same height, and we'll sort out the buttons and make sure everything links to the correct sections. In our last video, I've got my theme customizer up here, we created the actual menu up here. When I start scrolling on this site, you'll see that the menu actually shrinks. Now I really don't want that. I want it to stay the same size. And when it shrinks, at the moment at the top you're looking at what they call the primary menu. When it starts to shrink, that is called the fixed menu. So if we make them both the same size, that won't shrink anymore. And to do that, we need to go into our theme customizer, which is where I am right now. To get there, just go to your dashboard, down to Divi, and theme customizer. Like I say, I've already got mine open here. Okay, so let's go to our main menu here, which is the primary menu. So that's header and navigation, primary menu bar. And at the moment, that's great. I like the way that looks. The height's fine, the size of the logo's fine. But like I say, I don't want it to shrink when I scroll. So we've got a menu height of 80 here. Let's just copy that 80, Control C. We'll go back and we'll go to our fixed navigation settings. And what I want to do is make the fixed menu height exactly the same. So if I paste in my 80 there, Control V. Now when I scroll, that menu will stay the same size, which is exactly what I want. I mean, you can go a little crazy if you want to. You can put a different background color in if you want to. That's the secondary menu. If you want to put a different background color in, select the background color that you want there. Let's just put purple in there. The logo will disappear. Now when I scroll, you can see it's changed to purple. That's if you want to change colors. I'm happy with mine to be the same color, which is black. So when you've done that and you're happy with it and it's doing what you want it to do, go ahead and publish the changes. Now the only other thing I'll do in this short video today is we've got buttons that want to link to different sections. We set up a couple of them, but there's a couple of them we didn't set up, like that one for a start. So let's actually go to our page. I'll visit the site. And let's enable the Visual Builder. Now each of our sections, if you saw previous videos, we've given an ID. For instance, this is specs or stats we gave it. This one we didn't want to link to. Full story. Let's have a look at this button. We want this to link to this section below, so it just scrolls down to it like this. So if we look at this section, blue tag for a section, we look at the advanced, see what the CSS ID is called. It's called info. So if we close that down, go back into this button, and for the link for the button, we want it to have a hashtag. Always got to have a hashtag for a CSS ID, and then the name of the CSS ID, which is info. And that will now, when you click on it, will scroll down to the info section. Let's go on down. We've got another one here that we want to link to the testimonials below, just to get it to scroll down to there. So let's go into this button. Make sure this has got a CSS ID. This is purple because it's a full width one. rather than a blue one for a section. Again, let's have a look. CSS ID and classes. Test, this is called, for testimonials. Now, when you build these, be careful. Make sure you give it CSS ID and not a class. I did this earlier mistakenly because I was talking and coding. Of course, if you put it as a class, it's not going to work. So make sure you get it as CSS ID. Let's get back out of there. Go into the button we want it to link. And for the link, hashtag test. That will now scroll down to that button there. Save that one. What else have we got? On the video, we got a pricing one that we want to scroll down to our price here. Now our price, we gave, pretty sure, pricing options, we gave the CSS ID of pricing. Let's just check that. Yep, I may as well just copy that. And go back up to the button. Go into the button itself. For the link, you know what to do. Hashtag and the name of the CSS ID. Great. I think that's all the buttons we have at the moment. Yep, apart from the buy now at the bottom. So we're good to go. Let's save our changes. Hit the little purple button here. Save the changes. And exit the Visual Builder. Okay, now we're all saved. Let's see if the links are going to take us where we want to go. So learn more. That's fine. More info. Takes us there too. Great. Full story. Takes us down to this one. Testimonials. Takes us down to testimonials. What's the next one? Pricing. Takes us down to pricing. Great. Home should take us back up to the top. And we sorted out the menu in the previous video to take us to all these sections individually. In this one today, when you first install the Divi theme, it comes with a widget area at the bottom here. We really don't need this for what we're doing today. You can use it if you want to. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of it, and I guess I'll show you how to use it as well, just in case you want to use yours. So let's go to our dashboard. Let's go down to Appearance and Widgets. Now here's our footer area, 1, 2 and 3 here, and you've got 4, 5 and 6 if you want to use them. And if we look in the first one, it's got archives, categories and metadata, which is what you're seeing here. Archives, meta and categories right there. If you do decide you want to use it, you can add things that just open up the area you want to add them to. For instance, you can put a cart in there, or categories, a calendar, whatever you want, just to show you what's going on. I'll put a calendar in there, give it a title. So now you've got your calendar in there. Let's go to footer number 3 and let's add an image to that. There's an image widget. I'll just call it image. Add an image. Really doesn't matter what we put in here. And you can continue on. If you want to add something to the 4th area, you can add a cart or something like that. Simply drop it in there just like that. Now once everything's saved, you don't have a button to save anything. You simply go back to your site, refresh the page. And once it's refreshed, simply go down to the bottom. And there it is. There's the calendar. There's a little image and there's the cart. Looks like I've got one thing in the cart, and you can actually check out from the bottom there. So if you want to use it, that's how to do it. But today I'm not going to use it, so let's get rid of it. And that could be easier either. Simply go in there and just delete any widgets that are in there. Delete. 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 And you know, to delete it, if you can't see it there, just hit the little drop down arrow on the right. Delete. Delete. And this should be the last one. Now you don't need to save anything, because once they're gone, they're gone. The sidebar at the top, this is a generic one for blog posts and what have you. We're not displaying that on the page, so it doesn't make any difference. Once they're all gone, simply go back to the site and refresh. Go back down. And as you can see, the whole thing's disappeared. We're just left with this default footer right here. So that's how to remove the widget area, use or remove the widget area in the Divi theme. This right here, in the next video, what we'll do is we'll put a custom footer in. Great, so where we left off was the actual pricing tables last time. What we're going to do today is replace this generic footer. We're going to make a custom footer with the theme builder. We're going to keep it fairly simple. Here's the one that I've got on this other site here. We're just going to have the logo, little copyright symbol, and a little button with a pop-up mail to. Okay, so let's get started. First thing we need to do is go down to Divi, and we'll go to the theme builder. And I want to add a global footer. I'm going to build a global footer. And I'm going to build from scratch. Okay. So I'm going to have three different sections here. So I'm going to use this. 3 columns. Now before I put anything in there, I actually want to make this full width. So let's just close that down. We'll go into our row. Blue for a section, green for a row, and dark for a module. I'm going to hit the row cog. I'm going to go to sizing. I'm going to put the width up to 100%. I'm going to copy the 100% and paste it in the max width below. We've now got a full width row there. Great. Okay, and I want to make my section color sort of dark background. So I'm going to go over to background. I'm simply going to give it a black background. There we go. Great. So I now want to put in my first module, which is I'm going to have our logo. So I'm going to go down to image and find my little logo. There we go. Great. And in the middle, I just want to sort of copyright, Mac Deals copyright 2020. So I'm going to save my logo there. I'm going to add a text module. Divi comes as standard with all these light grey modules here. There's plenty enough to build just about any site with. I want a little text module. There we go. As you can see, it puts in a bit of dummy text there. I'm going to get rid of that. Now I'm going to use the copyright symbol, which is an Alt symbol. So if you hold down the Alt key and do 0169, you get the copyright symbol. And I'm going to say Mac Deals. (2020). And there it is right there. Now I want to make it a little bit brighter than that, so I'm going to go into the text and make it white. There we go. And I also want my text aligned to the middle, and I'll give it a bit of padding in a minute and bring it down. I think I might make it just slightly bigger. There we go, something like that. So I'll leave that and we'll adjust it when I've got my nav bar the right, or my footer bar the right depth. I just want to go back in here. I want to make sure that this image is centered as well, because it'll look so much better on mobile. Alignment, I'm in the design tab. Just going to put that to the middle. Fantastic. Now on the right hand side here, I just want to have a little button that says contact us, and when they click it, it'll bring up their default mail client, whatever device they're using on. So let's add new module. I want to add a button. The color's fine. The reason it's purple with the blue hover effect there is because that's the way I've got it set up in my theme customizer. And for those of you that haven't been watching, if we go to a dashboard here, down to Divi, theme customizer, down to buttons. This is where you set your default style, and as you can see, I've got mine set to be purple and to be blue on hover. Okay, so we've put our little button in there. I want it to say contact us. Now for the link, to make it pop up and for them to be able to send us an email with it, we use the mail to, mailto : and then the email address that you want it to be filled out with. So info@macdeals.com. And that'll pop out their mail client and send the email to info@macdeals.com. So great. And again, this button, design wise, I want it to be in the middle. Now we're going to have to add a bit of padding to line all these up. But let's get our bar the right shape. What I want to do is, I don't want to have it too wide. So I'm going to take a bit of the padding away from our section up here. Now you can just grab your row at the top if you want to and slide it up. And same with the bottom here. You can just slide it up if you wish. I think that's the sort of depth I want. Or you can go into the actual section and take away the padding, or put out whatever padding you want in there. So this one, let's bring it down a little bit. I'm going to go into here. I'm going to go to design, spacing. Let's try 30 pixels at the top. Not quite, perhaps 40. There we go, that seems to work. And we'll do similar for the button. 40 may be too much for the button, but we can always readjust. And actually, while I'm hovering over it, I want to take that little icon away. So I'm going to go to design. I'm going to go to the button. Use custom styles of button. The only thing I'm going to change is roll down. And there's a little switch that says show button icon. I'm going to switch that to off. There we go, fantastic. Now we need to go down to spacing. Now for the button, we need to use a margin instead of padding. If I use padding, it's going to make that button fatter. So let's use a margin, and we'll try 40. A little bit too much there, try 30. And I think that's going to do it. So let's save our changes. Very simple footer we've got going on here. And remember, you can add any module to your footer that's in the module library there and make it very extensive, but for our purposes this simple footer is going to work. So let's save our changes, exit out, make sure all the changes are saved there. Now let's go to our site and refresh the page. This footer, generic footer, will disappear and our new one should appear. Roll down a bit of it. There we go. And there it is. I've got our little logo there. We can link this to the top of the page if you wanted to do that. Little copyright symbol. And here's our contact us, that when I click on it, it should pop out my Outlook client, or if you're on a phone, whatever your email client is. And it's already filled out the default info@macdeals.com. So there we go. There's how to add a global footer to your site. So I hope you've enjoyed that and found it useful. If you have, please ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System 22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.